Ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed the Morik Show, coming to you live from Studio A here at Ramapo College of New Jersey in Mahwah, New Jersey, on Ramapo College Radio, WRPR 90.3 FM. This is indeed the one, the only Ryan Morik. Thank you very much for tuning in on this Thursday, April 23rd, 2015, here at 6 o'clock p.m. Throwback Thursday as usual, and I am very, very excited for this show today. Basically, every New York sports team, except for maybe two or one, have something going on. And probably the best New York team right now, not the Mets, we'll get into them soon, but the New York Rangers have taken a commanding 3-1 series lead on the Pittsburgh Penguins with an overtime winning Game 4 last night. Game winner by Kevin Hayes. Last night was one of those not really must-wins. If the Rangers lose last night, the series is 2-2. You're definitely facing a Game 6 in Pittsburgh, where either you're going to have to go to Game 7 at the Garden, or I should say, Pittsburgh can clinch, leading 3-2 in Game 6 at their own house. Now that they're up 3-1, this win gives them that chance to clinch Game 5 at the Garden, and if necessary, it gives them the same exact chance to clinch in Game 7. And we all know it's very, very tough to beat the Rangers. Not even in Game 7 at the Garden. Just when they have a chance to clinch, it is very, very difficult to beat this team. Now, the Penguins have to win 3 games in a row. 2 of them are at the Garden, where the Rangers can possibly clinch. And that crowd is going to be insane. Now, the Rangers get at least one clinching game, on home ice. They already had advantage in the first place, being the better team than the Penguins. Last night was the biggest game of the series for the New York Rangers, without a question. Now, the one thing, I have to admit this, I'm still a little worried about the offense not producing. We all know the power play is an issue. They went from, the last month of the season, 10th best power play to 21st best in the last month of the regular season. This playoffs, they're 2 for 16 on the power play. Every time the Rangers have won the game, it was a 2-1 final. The time they lost the game, it was 4-3. That means they're averaging 2.25 goals a game, and against Marc-Andre Fleury. Now, I got to give credit where credit's due. Fleury has been standing on his head this series. Game 1, he had 36 saves. But let's be honest here. He's not exactly an elite goaltender. He has a .920 save percentage in the regular season, which is 15th in the league. He had a 2.32 goals against average, which is 15th in the league. Now, this series, it's .921 and .225. Not much of a difference, I know. But honestly, the Rangers aren't putting the puck in the net. And luckily for this series, Henrik has been great. I mean, what more can you expect from the guy? He's awesome. But Fleury, again, he's been playing very well. 36 saves in Game 1. He had 22, I think he had 22 last night. Not bad. And remember, assuming the Rangers go on to the next round, they're facing either the Capitals or the Islanders. Both of those teams are worse than the Penguins, so I think if the Rangers play like this, they'll be fine in the semis. But the Canadiens are making the Eastern Conference Finals. What happens when they play a goaltender like Carey Price? They won't be putting up those kind of numbers that they're already putting up. Carey Price is a Vezina winner. His goals against was 191 in the regular season. I think his save percentage was like a 930. Good things will happen if they put the puck on the net. I get it. Most goalies don't stand on their head like Marc-Andre Fleury did in Game 1. They're not shooting enough, though. Besides the first game, they're not shooting enough. In 4 games, I think they have about 110 shots on net, I think, shots on goal. That's over 25 a game, but remember, 38 of that was in the first game. I think they had 24 last night. They had 22 another night, I think. They're not shooting the puck enough. And I know that their physical play has been great. Their forecheck has been awesome. They are not letting anyone get by with anything that comes close to a dirty play. Everyone's backing each other up. They're playing hard. They're playing physical. That's this Ranger team. That's what chemistry on a hockey team gives you. Physicality. But they have to shoot the puck. Especially when they potentially play Carey Price in the Eastern Conference Finals again. And before that, let's say the Islanders beat the Capitals. The home crowd at the Coliseum is going to be electric. So they need to shoot the puck when they're on the road, because that's going to shut that crowd up quickly. The Islanders have home ice to the T, especially if they play the Rangers. Because not only do Islander fans want that series, Ranger fans want that series, hockey fans all over the place want this series to happen. So Game 3 at the Coliseum, it's going to be electric. I don't think the Rangers would lose to the Islanders, but honestly, if the Rangers do lose, it's because of that crowd. And then you got to play Carey Price in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm assuming the offense better turn around. They have to get this power play going. You need to take advantage of what's given to you. 16 power plays in 4 games. No team should be in the penalty box 4 times a game. The Penguins have. And the Rangers are not doing anything about it except twice. And they're not getting good looks either. I don't think they're not having a lot of shots on goal. If I'm a Ranger fan, would I be worried? Not yet. But I will be worried if they go into the Eastern Conference Finals with this kind of offense. Yaroslav Halak, he put up great numbers earlier in the year, but honestly, he's not better than Marc-Andre Fleury. The Holtby on the Capitals, he's nothing special. So if the Rangers offense is just like this series, I think they will be okay in the next round no matter who they face. I think it'll be better if they face Washington because, again, that Islanders home crowd at the barn is going to be crazy. But the Rangers have to put the puck in net. If you feel like it, give me your thoughts. Call into the station 201-825-1234. That's 201-825-1234. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Rangers just got done. But feel free to call, and if you want to talk about the Rangers, I have no problem getting back to it. But right now, speaking of the Islanders, we're moving on to them. Rangers won Game 4. Islanders lost Game 4. Now, this game for the Islanders wasn't that much of a must-win like the Rangers game was. But the Islanders obviously would be in a lot better shape being up 3-1 going back to Washington. Because they would be up 3-1 instead of a 2 out of 3 series with Washington having home ice. And Game 5, right now, Game 5 is the must-win. They could be up 3-2 with the possible clinching game at the Coliseum, or down 3-2 in the series, the possible last game at the Barn, and then if you win, you go on the road for Game 7. And if you lose, you're done at the Barn and your season's done. If they win Game 4, you can afford to lose Game 5. Why? Because you still have the clincher Game 6 at your own home ice. It's a good thing that those end-of-season woes are over for the Islanders. Those last 24, 25 games, they did not play like the Islanders of the first 4.5, 5 months of the season. Now they're 2-2 in their last 4 games, in the playoffs no less, which is a completely different environment. Well, you know what? The Islanders have had a terrible power play also. They're 0 for 7, I think. 0 for their last 7. Again, you won't win games if you don't take advantage of what is being given to you. Now, the Islanders, they haven't been on the power play often this series. The Rangers have practically doubled, if more than doubled, the number of power plays than the Islanders have this in their respective series. So 7 is a small sample size. But you have to score at least once or twice on that power play. You're not going to win if you don't take advantage. 5-on-4s are when you're supposed to attack the net. I haven't seen a lot of the Islanders play. But I know enough to know that good things happen when you put the puck in the net. Whether it's a 5-on-5, whether you're on the power play, whether you're on the penalty kill. Shoot the puck, good things will happen. Because most goalies will not be like Fleury and make 36 out of 38 saves. That was a 9.47 goals against average. I'd say the average, 28 out of 30 probably. What's the average goals against average? What did Fleury have? He was 15th in the league, like a 2.25? Or something like that. That's probably the average. So put the puck toward the net. And speaking of advantage, right now, a lot of things are in the advantage of the Washington Capitals. The Islanders want to play the Rangers very badly, but they need to step it up if they even want a shot at thinking about that. It might be possible that the Islanders are looking too far ahead. The Islanders have been looking forward to playing the Rangers in the playoffs all season long. Now I think that it's finally playoff time. It's hitting them that they have a shot to play the Rangers in the playoffs. I have no idea when the last time that happened was. But right now, again, I have not watched the Islanders. I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched a second of the Islanders. I watched the Rangers, and I've been watching the Yankees. But there's a good possibility that the Islanders are playing too far ahead. I mean, what do I know? I'm not in the minds of the Islanders. I'm not in that locker room. But for now, they have to focus at the task at hand. And that is win 2 of the next 3 games. Especially win Game 5 tonight. This is that not technically, must win. This is it. Because if they go down, Game 6 might be the last game at the Barn. But I would rather have the series clincher at my own home ice than be down 3-2 and have to play 2 and then play the clincher on the road in the Game 7. Focus on the task at hand. 201-825-1234 is the number for Ramapo College Radio, WRPR 90.3 FM, 201-825-1234. This team might be the best team in New York. Scratch that. This team is the best team in New York. This team is the best team in the major leagues record-wise. The Mets won their 11th game in a row. And a lot of that has to do with outstanding pitching. Bartolo Colon, another great start for him. The guy is ageless. Jacob deGrom, tomorrow's starter against Michael Pineda of the Yankees, flat out stud. Jacob deGrom reminds me of Michael Pineda. They have a powerful fastball and they have great all-speed stuff and they have a lot of swagger. They are the same pitcher. Matt Harvey hasn't had his best stuff so far besides that first start where he tore it up. And you know what? He's still picking up wins. He's still striking people out. He's putting up ace-like numbers, and he doesn't even have his best stuff. That's insane. And the offense is also picking him up. Even when he has a bad inning, the offense has been incredible. Jonathan Neese, he walks a lot of guys, but he manages to get guys out. I think he has a 1.5 ERA, but he has like 8 walks on the year, something like that, in 3 starts. It was something around there. Dylan G is Dylan G. No one was expecting big things out of him. But you know what? As a 5-starter, you don't expect to. He was supposed to start in the bullpen. And then Zach Wheeler went down with Tommy John. And he still wasn't even the clear-cut favorite. Rafael Montero almost started in front of him. And you know what? Dylan G pitched very well last night. The thing that I'm the most impressed with about the New York Mets, though, is how everyone has stepped up big time. Their biggest question heading into this year was probably their bullpen. To make matters worse, Mejia went down for 80 games with the suspension. And then things got even worse when Blemis broke his arm a couple days ago. You know what? The Mets have not lost since Mejia got suspended. And Familia has been incredible in the closer's role. I don't know if he had the save today. I'm assuming he did. But entering today, he had 7 saves. He had a hold. He had a .69 whip. He had a 2.08 ERA. 2 walks and 10 strikeouts on the year. That's entering today. I don't know what his numbers were today. I don't even know if he even threw today. But you know what? Dylan G on the year has 12 strikeouts. Jonathan Neese has 11. Entering today, Familia had 10. So Familia has stepped up big time. They didn't have to adjust too much to the Blemis injury since he only joined the team about 2 weeks ago. But losing one of your biggest acquisitions is big. 201-825-1234. Want to talk about the Mets? 201-825-1234. And to make matters worse, David Wright got hurt. The captain, the face of the franchise. And then it's no problem. You bring up Eric Campbell, who entering today, he was batting .286. I think after today he was like .261, something like that. You know what? David Wright's average last year was .269. Eric Campbell is doing enough. And you know what? I think the guy has like 6 walks or 7 walks in what? 7 games? This guy's having a great eye at the plate. He hasn't seen a lot of Major League pitching, so he's being very patient, and it's working out for him. Entering today, his on-base percentage was well over 400. Well over. He's having quality plate appearances. And honestly, when David Wright comes back, it might not be a bad idea to try to train this guy as a shortstop. This guy has a lot of talent, and quite frankly, David Wright's going to be around for a while. So Eric Campbell it's kind of like every Yankee shortstop down in their farm system for the last 20 years with Derek Jeter. But speaking of shortstop, I know this is crazy. Wilmer Flores has done a decent job for the New York Mets. Again, entering today, he had hits in 7 of his last 8 games. He was on a 5-game hitting streak. He was 7 for his last 15. That's a .470 probably average. He had 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in his last 6 games. 10 days ago, we were laughing at Wilmer Flores. Met fans were calling this guy to be out. And now, honestly, Wilmer Flores is a big, big reason why the Mets winning streak is still alive. And then things get bad again for the Mets. Travis d'Arnaud breaks his hand. And then Plawecki goes 2 for 4 in his first game. He went 0 for 3 in his second game. Not expecting much from this guy. But let's remember, Travis d'Arnaud is not all that great either. Just last year, Travis d'Arnaud got sent down because he couldn't hit. So don't expect big things from Plawecki. He's not supposed to be this Mike Piazza type of player. He's going to be similar to d'Arnaud. And by the way, one guy who I haven't even talked about yet, Lucas Duda has been unbelievable. He's doing exactly what I said he should be doing. Hit more and kill less. Entering the day, he was batting .339. He 1 for 1 today. 1 for 1 today with 3 walks, so that bumped his average to .351. He got on base 4 times today, so his on base percentage is probably like a .490. Entering today was .403. His slugger percentage was .518. 1 home run, 9 RBIs, 7 doubles, 7 multi-hit games, and at one point he had 5 multi-hit games in 6 games and 7 out of 8 games with a hit. And now it's 8 out of 9 games with a hit. Who knows where the Mets would be without Lucas Duda? Seriously. Duda has been carrying this team. Honestly, the fact that he's making contact more and not trying to destroy the ball is working out a lot. Why? Because he has 7 doubles. 7 doubles in 15 games. That's what? 70 on pace for? And all of this with Daniel Murphy playing terribly. With the exception today. He broke open today. He was 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs. And I'll get to that in a couple of seconds. But you know you're going to be good when you win 11 in a row now. You have the best record in the MLB. And your best contact hitter stinks. Now, I hope today is Daniel Murphy's breaking open. I hope right now is the start for him. And I think it will be. But you know what? The Mets have had a billion things go completely against them. And they have the best record in the MLB. They're on pace to finish 132-30. I had them winning 86 games, but I did not expect a 12-3 start. 13-3 now. This winning streak alone can get them to 90 wins. To be at 90 wins, the Mets have to go 77-69 the rest of the season. If they started out on pace to go 77-69 in their first 146 games, staying at that pace, they would finish at 86 wins. I'm not saying anything will happen, But this winning streak, I know it's very early. If they had played the rest of the year like I thought they would originally would, which is apparently a 77 and 69 pace, the rest from here on, they're at 90 wins. And that right there shows you that although the MLB season is 162 games long, it is also 162 games short. Every single game matters. How many playoff races have we seen where it comes down to game 162? There have been game 163s. Every game matters. And this start could bring them to 90 wins. Now moving on to the worst team in New York. But there are only two teams, don't worry. The Yankees beat the Tigers today. They went 7-3 on this road stand, 10 games, 7 wins, and they've won 6 of their last 7. Who expected them to win 6 of their last 7 with a terrible start in the Bronx, losing their first 2 series there to Toronto and Boston, and then they lost the opening series to Baltimore? Not a lot of people expected this team to go very far. And then they go 7-3 on the road. Now they have nice momentum heading into the red-hot New York Mets. With the Yankees, I'm still a little concerned about their timely hitting. But you know what? Entering today, they averaged 6 runs a game on this road stretch. And on this 10-game road stretch, they had 12 home runs. Now, I know it's early, but the long ball was a huge, huge question for the New York Yankees. And right now, they have the most home runs in the league, and only, how many? They had 12 this road stand, so I think 9 of them were at Yankee Stadium. And we know the defense struggled early, but now things look like they're starting to turn around a little bit. Jacoby has had a nice start. Brett, I want to see him steal a couple more bases, but we all know the Yankees don't play small ball. And speaking of small ball, I've seen Brian McCann bunt in the shift twice this season already. And I don't understand why more people don't do that. Now, the 2 bunts I saw, one went right back to the pitcher and the other went foul. But you know what? It works every time. If you get the bunt down, it will work. If I'm a manager and my batters are facing the shift, I'm telling them to bunt every single time. Carlos Beltran, awful start. Chris Young has been red hot. I say leave Chris Young in for a while. Have Beltran work on whatever he needs to work on. Because remember, Beltran got red hot after the All-Star break last year. So we know this guy can turn it around. But you know what? I forgot who said it. I think it was Jack Curry from the Yes Network. He said that Beltran is not used to struggling. So him struggling is a big psychological factor, I think. Now, Mark Teixeira, awful average, but he has the second most home runs in the American League behind Nelson Cruz. He had a .592 slugger percentage, typical Teixeira. Brian McCann is streaky, but that's the kind of player he is. And I still have very high hopes for the guy. Last season was awesome. He had like 8 home runs in that month. And you can't complain about Alex Rodriguez. He's top 10 in the American League in a bunch of categories. I think top 5 in some. He has the second most walks in the league. He's still striking out a lot, but that'll change with more pitches he sees. And speaking of the pitches he's been seeing, his walks, I mentioned he has the second most walks in the league. That is very impressive for a guy who hasn't played in a year and a half. Now, Stephen Drew is Stephen Drew. Gregorius is basically what we've been expecting. But I got to tell you, I'm impressed with this pitching. Tanaka, everyone was saying that he needs surgery after one bad inning. Now, taking a look at his last 2 starts, 1 earned run combined in 13 and a third innings. He did awesome last start. Today he was awesome. Michael Pineda is awesome. He might be better than Masahiro Tanaka. And I know I might sound insane, but I like what I've been seeing from CC Sabathia. He's the pitcher that's going to get hit, but you know what? He leads the team right now with 20 strikeouts, and that's the 6th most in the major leagues. He's getting guys out. He's had 2 really bad innings in his first 2 starts. And unfortunately, those are the innings that made his game. But other than that, without his 95-mile-an-hour fastball, I like what I've been seeing from him. Nathan Eovaldi, he's working on his split. Once he gets that down, I think he'll be pretty good. I still have problems with him past the 5th inning because he's notorious for not performing, to say the least. Adam Warren's Adam Warren. Nova and Capuano are going to come back soon. And the bullpen has looked phenomenal. Now, we all knew this was going to be a strength, but I did not expect this much, to be completely honest. Andrew Miller and Della Betances have not let up an earned run. Jason Shrev and Rogers have been great in their roles. Their bullpen has the 4th best ERA in the league, 2.13. Now, Andrew Miller, 6 saves, 0 ERA. Entering today, his whip was .95, and that definitely went down today because he went 3 up, 3 down in his first inning. Entering today, 18.47 strikeouts per 9. He has the 5th most strikeouts on the team with 13. Now it's 14, I think, either 14 or 15. I always said that Della Betances should be the reliever, but right now, Andrew Miller has been great. And Betances, he's looked a little shaky in the 8th. We know he's not the pitcher he was last year, but today he turned it on. And it was the same thing that happened last year. He didn't start throwing triple digits until June. He didn't hit 97, 98 until like May. He hit 97 a couple times today. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the old saying. And especially when Andrew Miller's putting on a show at the closer role, and Betances still isn't his 2014 Betances yet. Right now, the Yankees are on pace for 91 wins. That's higher than I expected. Honestly, as a Yankee fan, I really don't think there's much to complain about. Timely hitting would be nice, small ball would be nice, but we never expected that anyway. And now the Subway Series starts tomorrow. And this is the first time in a while where the Mets are the favorites of the Subway Series. Tomorrow night is the best matchup. It's DeGrom versus Pineda. Honestly, I said before, they are the same exact pitcher. It's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be a low-scoring game. They both have great stuff. They're both power pitchers with great off-speed, and they both have a lot of swagger on the mound. They know that they are in control. They know that they are the man to beat. They have a lot of confidence in themselves, and honestly, don't be surprised if tomorrow's a 1-0 game. Saturday, it's going to be Harvey versus CC, and on paper, it's obviously Harvey. But you know what? If Harvey leaves fastballs in the zone like he has been, the Yankees' offense has been red hot. Kind of. They've either been insane or they've been nothing. Today, they were nothing and they won, which you do not see a lot from the Yankees. And that shows you how well this pitching staff is, from Tanaka to the bullpen. It was Tanaka, Betances, Miller today, and they shut the Detroit Tigers down. I had the Tigers winning the World Series. They have, I think, the best lineup in baseball. But as for the Mets, we all know what happens with CC. Anyone can rip this guy apart. Sunday night is Nice versus Eovaldi. I think that game all depends on if Eovaldi has it or not. If he doesn't, the Mets are going to have a field day. If Eovaldi does have his stuff, then expect a matchup like DeGrom and Pineda, honestly. Because Eovaldi, he has the stuff. He just doesn't know how to use it. This is going to be a very fun series. This series is going to show a lot about these two teams. I mean, even though it's early, I know they have a lot of potential, both of these teams. And again, this is the first Subway Series where the Mets are the favorites in a long time. A couple years ago, the Mets swept them in 4 games, but they've never been the favorites. I want to see how the New York Mets treat that series. I want to see how they are treated as the favorites, because that has not happened in a long time. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a great crowd on both sides every game this weekend. Here we go with some quick updates. The women's lacrosse team was eliminated from playoff contention yesterday with an 18-9 loss to Kane. That means Kane University clinches the 4th seed. The Roadrunners are back in action Saturday in Stockton at 1 o'clock. Baseball is in action right now against William Patterson. They will take on William Patterson again tomorrow at Jeff Mull Memorial Field. With 5 games left in the regular season, a win, and Ramapo clinches a postseason berth. After that, the Roadrunners will travel to Rowan for a doubleheader starting at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. You can catch tomorrow's game on WRPR 90.3 FM. I will be on the call. Softball is in Rutgers Camden right now. They have a doubleheader against TCNJ on Saturday here at Ramapo College. Music just shut off. We'll just start it over. That works. The men's tennis team is currently in the GNAC semifinals right now. They are the 1 seed against the number 2 seeded Rutgers Camden Scarlet Raptors. If they win, they move on to the finals. Pro updates in the NHL, the Rangers win Game 4 in overtime 2-1. They take a commanding 3-1 lead over the Penguins thanks to Kevin Hayes' game-winning goal. Game 5 is tomorrow night at the Garden with the Rangers on the brink of advancing. The Islanders lost Game 4 in overtime 2-1 on Tuesday. The series is tied 2-2. Going back to Washington tonight, Nicholas Backstrom with the game-winning goal for the Capitals in Game 4. Game 5 tonight in Washington at 7 o'clock. The Ducks completed the sweep of the Jets last night in Winnipeg. They won the game 5-2. They take on the winner of the Canucks and Flames. The Canucks lead the series 3-1 after they won Game 4 3-1 in Calgary. The Flames can clinch tonight in Game 5 in Vancouver. Moving back to the East, the Red Wings won Game 3 3-zip. They take a 2-1 series lead over Tampa Bay. Game 4 is tonight at 7 o'clock at the Joe. The Senators avoided sweep last night, beating Montreal 1-0. The Canadiens will get another chance tomorrow night in Montreal. Going back west, the St. Louis Blues beat up on the Minnesota Wild last night, winning Game 4 6-1. The series is tied at 2, moving back to St. Louis. Game 5 is tomorrow. The Blackhawks took a 3-1 series lead after beating the Predators 3-2 in triple overtime in Game 4 on Tuesday. Brent Seabrook with the game winner. Game 5 and the possible clincher for Chicago tonight at 9:30 in Nashville. Moving to the NBA, every series but one is in a 2-0. Every series is 2-0 except one. The Nets are down 2-0 to Atlanta after losing Game 2 last night, 96-91. Game 3 is in Brooklyn on Saturday. That game will be at 3 o'clock on the Yes Network. The Cavs took a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 is in Boston tonight. The Wizards beat the Raptors 117-106 in Game 2. The series moves to Washington with the new home team up 2-0. The Bulls won Game 2 in Chicago 91-82. The series is in Milwaukee tonight at 8 o'clock for Game 3. Moving west, the only series not at 2-0 because the Spurs beat the Clippers in overtime last night 111-107. Game 3 is in San Antonio tomorrow night at 9:30. Golden State took another one over the Pelicans on Monday. The series moves to New Orleans tonight at 9:30. After the Rockets won the first 2 in Houston, the series moves to Dallas tomorrow night for Game 3. And the Grizzlies took both games in Portland. That series moves to Portland on Saturday. In the MLB, the Mets have won 11 in a row. They have won 13 of their last 16. Their record is 13-3, the best in the majors. Bartolo Colon today, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, no walks, and 5 Ks. Daniel Murphy breaking loose with 4 RBIs and went 2 for 3. Right now, they're on pace to finish 132-30. The Yankees won today. They have won 6 of their last 7. They went 7-3 on their road stretch. They beat the Tigers 2-1 today. Tanaka 6 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and struck out 6. Ellsbury scored twice, once on a balk. Subway Series starts tomorrow. Friday will be Jacob deGrom versus Michael Pineda. Saturday at 4:05, it'll be Matt Harvey versus CC Sabathia. Jonathan Neese and Nathan Eovaldi will square off on Sunday Night Baseball at 8:05 on ESPN. So Tuesday night might have been one of the worst things I've ever seen on a basketball court. Rajon Rondo put up the most pathetic performance I've ever seen. I know you don't want to be there, but at least try. This is the playoffs. Don't be lazy. Don't not try. He had a bunch of dumb fouls. It was pathetic. It was pathetic. Now, I know that there have been problems with Carlisle and Rondo right away. Rajon Rondo wanted more control of the offense. He wants more control of the offense he's never played with before? That's not happening unless you're LeBron James, pal. Sorry. And even I think he has too much control. Coaches coach, players play. And you know what? As much as I blame Rondo, I have to blame Carlisle in the front office too. Carlisle made one of the dumbest comments yesterday. Someone asked him if he expected Rondo to be back in a Mavs uniform, and he said no. Even if that's your thought, don't say that. You have to say something like, I'm not worried about that right now. Because that makes the entire team just look bad, and it causes a lot of controversy in the locker room. He never tried reaching out to Rondo, that I know of. Instead, he just yelled at him any chance he got. Now, I get Rondo, what he's doing is wrong. But coaches need to help players with the problems. As soon as Rondo had a problem, Carlisle should have approached Rondo and said, look, what's wrong? Let's work something out. But he didn't. So I don't blame Rondo with that. But it's pathetic. Rondo is one of the flashiest and one of the smartest players in the league. And right now, he's acting like the dumbest. Rajon Rondo used to be a top point guard in the league. Now, he honestly might not even be top 10. It's like Darren Williams. Back in the day, we used to argue who was better, CP3 or Darren Williams. Now, we laugh at the fact that we even thought that. Steph, CP3, and Westbrook are all better than Rondo. Probably Kyrie also. John Wall and Damian Lillard, I think, are better than Rondo. Maybe Kyle Lowry. Maybe Mike Conley. Jeff Teague and Tony Parker are up there. Dragic is on the come up. Who else? Derrick Rose when he's healthy. Ricky Rubio is nice. All of these guys, honestly, they might be better than Rondo. Seriously. And now we're laughing at the fact that we even thought that he was one of the best in the league at one point. The only team that should even want Rondo is honestly the Boston Celtics, because it's the only place where he wants to be. It's the only place where he'll cooperate. 201-825-1234 is the phone number for WRPR 90.3. 201-825-1234. The schedule for the NFL was released last night. I hate to be that guy, but the schedule release is overrated. If I really wanted to, I can figure out every team's opponents for the next a million years. They swap NFC divisions once every 3 years. They swap AFC divisions once every 4 years. And then they play whoever placed them in the division they're not playing every year. So I can figure out at least 14 of their games. Because they play 4 games against an AFC team, and the division switches every year. It's a cycle for 4 years because there are 4 divisions. Same thing with the NFC, every 3 years. So that's 8 games right there. And then they play 6 games against their own division. That's 14 games I can calculate right there. So I don't get why everyone was so hyped up about the schedule release. I mean, I get it's cool to see when you're playing who and what kind of primetime games you have, and if the schedule is hard at one point and then easy later on. But anyway, I'm not here to rant. That was my little quick rant. But it's time for a little preview of the Giants and Jets. Giants schedule, right now they have one must wins. Well, not must wins, but on paper wins. Washington in week 3. The Bucs in week 10. Washington again in week 13. That's 3 games where they definitely could win. Maybe the Panthers and the Vikings, that's 5. Before this offseason, I would have said Bills, and that game's in Buffalo. So that's definitely not a must-win. Maybe the Falcons. That's probably 6. I would say 6. The Saints, I know that a lot of people are saying that the Saints are a bad team, but remember, this is Drew Brees. They don't have Jimmy Graham anymore. I just remembered that. But that game's in New Orleans. Saints fans are crazy. If this game was at MetLife, I would give that game to the Giants, but no. The Giants have a pretty easy schedule. They're in Miami, and they have improved a lot. That game, I think it's going to be pretty low scoring. But honestly, the Giants' O-line and Eli are going to get killed in that game. I like the bye week in week 11. That's nice. Is it week 11? Yeah, it's week 11. Right now, I'm predicting Giants at Cowboys week 1. I'm going to go with a loss there. Giants versus Falcons week 2. That's a win. Giants versus Skins on Thursday Night Football in week 2 at home. That's a win. Giants at Bills. That's a tough one. I'm going to skip that one right now. Against the 49ers, Sunday Night Football, that's a win. Giants at Eagles, that's a loss. I have them at 3-2 right now. Giants versus Cowboys. Giants have beaten the Cowboys in almost 3 calendar years, but I think this might be the time to do it. That's 4-2. Giants at Saints, I'm going to skip that one also. Giants at Bucs, that's a win. Giants versus Patriots, that's a loss. I'm sorry. Giants at Washington, that's a win. I have them at 6-3 right now, and I skipped 2 games. Giants versus Jets, right now I have the Jets winning that game. I'll get to that soon. So 6-4. Giants at Dolphins, that's a loss. That's 6-5. Giants versus Panthers. Giants versus Panthers. Good D. Struggled last year, but they can go off. Giants are home. Don't know. Giants at Vikings, that's a win. Giants versus Eagles at home. Depends on what their record is at that point. But right now, I'm going to go with a loss. I have them at 7-6. I skipped 3 games. And remember, the Giants play up and down to their opponent because that's just how they are. That's just what they do. But right now, for my quick little Giant preview, regardless of the schedule. First things first is that Eli Manning is going to do very well this year. Because last year he did phenomenal in an offense he's never seen before, he's never played with before. 63.1 completion percentage, 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and some of them not his fault, 5 of them in one game. All of that with a terrible O-line and an offense he's never played in before. And now he has Dwayne Harris, Shane Vereen, an apparently healthy Odell, who apparently was unhealthy last year. No Victor Cruz for almost half the year. Of course he's going to succeed this year. If Odell did what he did last year with a torn hamstring, he's going to be insane in 2015. Honestly, Odell Beckham Jr. is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Seriously, he's better than Calvin, Dez, Demarius, AJ, Antonio. He's better than them. He's better than them. He runs a 4.43, has a 38.5-inch vert, 10-inch hands, 32-plus inch arms. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. But you know what? He's 5'11". He plays like he's 6'6". He's a slot receiver, and he's a red zone threat. This guy gets every 50-50 ball. That catch alone, made against Dallas, the best catch I've ever seen, the best catch ever. That right away made him a top 5 receiver. He was mauled by illegal contact. He called the ball with 3 fingers. That was not luck. That was pure skill. Watch what he does in practice. And that one touchdown against the Rams in Week 16, look at what he does. He's the best route runner in the league. Go to YouTube, type in Odell Beckham Jr. touchdown versus Rams. He torches everyone. He torched Richard Sherman, who was 4 inches on him. And now Victor Cruz is back, and he and Beckham have insane chemistry. Dwayne Harris and Randall are the 3 and 4 that can be interchanged. Last year, Ruben Randall was the 2. Ruben Randall was the 2nd receiver last year, and now he's probably the 3rd or 4th. Corey Washington's going to evolve. They have Shane Vereen, who is a perfect fit in the West Coast offense. Defense is still an issue besides the corners because Rogers Kamari and Prince Amukamara are very good. They have no linebackers yet because the draft is in a week. They have no O-line and no D-line yet. And honestly, I don't want them drafting any O-linemen. I don't want young guys protecting Eli I don't want young guys protecting my favorite team's franchise quarterback. Or so I think, because he's in his last year of his contract. But I'm assuming he's going to stay. I'd rather have vets and consistency. A part of the reason why the Giants' offensive line was so bad last year was because they had a different offensive line every week. Honestly, I am a lot more confident in the Giants this year than I have been in the last 2 years. Without question. Now, moving on to the Jets. I'm going to do the same exact thing as I just did with the Giants. Week 1, home against Cleveland, that's a win. Week 2, at Indy, that's a loss. Week 2, home against Philly. Depending on who plays quarterback, I mean, the Jets have a ton of questions about their team and what they're going to do. But right now, I'm going to give them a loss with that. At Miami, but that game's in London, I'm going to give them a loss. That's 1-3. Actually, no. Philly, I'm going to give them the win. Because Philly does not have a great secondary, and I forgot that the Jets had Marshall for a second. I'm going to get into that soon. Right now, I have them at 2-2. I think the Week 5 bye is going to kill them because they have to play 12 games in a row, and if they want to make the playoffs, they're not getting the top 2 seeds. So the Jets could possibly play 16 weeks in a row. They're not going to because they're not going to make the Super Bowl, but it's a possibility. Home against the Skins, that's a win. At the Patriots, that's a loss. At the Raiders, that's a win. Home against the Jaguars, that's a win. Home against the Bills, that's a loss. At the Texans, I think that's a loss. Home against the Dolphins, I'm going to go another loss. At the Giants, I'm going to give them the win, 6-6 right now. Home against the Titans, that's a win, 7-6. At Dallas, I'm going to give them the loss on that. That's 7-7. The Patriots, home, they're going to win one of those games. I think that's a win. And then I think they'll lose to Buffalo. That's 8-8 right there. And you know what? How many definite wins they have? 1 against Cleveland, and then 2 against the Skins, 3 against Oakland, 4 against Jacksonville, 5 against Tennessee. That's 5 wins in the bag right there, we assume. Now, another Jets preview. First of all, they got Darrelle Revis back. When Darrelle Revis is on the field, it's automatically a 10-on-10. He gets guys out of the play right off of the snap, and that's why Darrelle Revis is the best cornerback in the game. Sure, he doesn't have a million interceptions, but you know what? Playing the cornerback is not about stats. And now they have Cromartie back. So the secondary has a ton of chemistry and dynamic players. It's one thing to have dynamic players. It's one thing to have chemistry. It's a crazy thing to have both, and the Jets have both. And you know what? The Jets don't have Odell Beckham Jr., but they got Brandon Marshall. I've been saying this for a while. The Jets need a quarterback, but honestly, prior to getting Eric Decker, and even with getting Eric Decker, because Decker's not a one receiver, not many quarterbacks can succeed with the Jets' weapons, quote unquote, before they got Marshall. They needed a new QB because his weapons made him a bad QB, Geno. Of course Geno's going to do poorly. Even if he didn't make bad mistakes, it's hard to succeed with Eric Decker as your number one. Peyton, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers are the only ones who can do well with that Jets roster. But now that they have Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker goes back to the very comfortable number 2. Marshall's obviously the one, and now Jason Marshall has a year under his belt. Jeremy Curley can do well. Geno Smith, if he plays a quarterback position, he can have a great year. No, he won't put up Pro Bowl-like numbers, but he knows he needs to perform, and I think with a new and improved wide receiver core, he can. Are the Jets better with Mariota or someone else? I think so. But I don't think it'll be much of a difference now that they have Brandon Marshall. And you know what? We're going to find out if Geno can perform if he starts. And I think we've seen that he can. Those last 4 starts back in 2013 were incredible. And I think he was the only quarterback in Week 17 last year to have a perfect passer rating. And now back to Marshall. A little bit of a troublemaker in the locker room, but honestly, the Jets aren't planning to have him for 5 years. They're planning to have him for 2 years and then probably get rid of him. He's a red zone threat every drive, and the Jets, honestly, they have not had a legitimate red zone threat since Keyshawn Johnson. He's 6'4". He's 230 pounds. He has great hands, fast hands. He's fast in general. Perfect. The red zone threat has always been an issue for the Jets, and now they have one, and he's legit. This is a great move by the Jets, and it's going to show. Now, the Jets and Giants will face each other on week 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. Week 13, December 6th. The Giants versus the Jets. Giants have the home game. The Jets haven't beaten the Giants since 1993, but as of right now, I think that's going to change. The Giants' weaknesses are the O-line, the D-line, the secondary, and their linebackers. The Jets' weaknesses are the QB, and the O-line isn't great. And the key matchup is obviously Odell versus Revis. If Revis gets Odell out of the play, then this game goes right to the Jets' way. Odell has to beat Revis, and if he does, then he's going to tear him up. Because Odell Beckham can tear anything up. And the Giants have no pass rush yet for whoever plays QB for the Jets. But you know what? The Jets' D-line is going to destroy Eli and the rest of that offensive line. Despite the Jets having an issue at quarterback, which is the most important position on the football field, the Giants' weaknesses play more in favor of the Jets' strengths than the Jets' weaknesses play in favor of the Giants' strengths. And for right now, I think that's why the Jets will beat the Giants in Week 13. A lot can change by December 6th. The Jets might have a new quarterback. Who knows who can be hurt? We have no idea. This offseason is only just beginning because the draft is a week away. But right now, I think the Jets win that game. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday. We all know what that means. It is time for your Beast of the Week. This week's Beast of the Week, and you know what? I'm having 25 Beasts of the Week this week. It is the New York Mets. They've won 11 games in a row, 10 of those games at home. That's 3 series sweeps straight. Looking red hot, on pace to win 132 games this year. They're 13-3 overall. Their pitching has been unbelievable. You heard me rant about them all show practically. The New York Mets right now are the best team in the MLB. I love what I've been seeing from everyone. Everything has gone the complete opposite of their way, and they're still winning games. You don't see that too often. The Mets, their unluckiness was going to come back, but they're finding ways to win. And that's what I'm most impressed about. So the New York Mets, all 25 of them, they are my Beast of the Week. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Ryan Morik Show. Thank you very much for tuning in on this Thursday night. New York Islanders and Washington tonight for Game 5. Series tied at 2 apiece. Subway Series starts tomorrow. Brooklyn Nets in action on Saturday. The Rangers can clinch tomorrow night. They can move on to the semis. Tune in to Ramapo College Baseball here on WRPR 90.3 FM tomorrow at 3:30 as the Roadrunners take on William Patterson. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not goodbye. It is see you later. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.
In this, just a swing your mind. I'm talking, walk if you're down with the sing. Take up for some and take this jet out of town. Put it down.